This is a quick total body strength session designed for your ovulatory phase. This is that mid-cycle point where we see estrogen on the rise. We get a little bump in testosterone, so we have improved energy levels and an increase in stamina. We're also experiencing that metabolic shift from our low hormone territory to a high hormone state. What that means is we're transitioning from kind of being generous with carbohydrates to being more carb sparing. So it might take you a little bit longer to get going today, and that is okay. We are using the Tabata framework for today's workout. This is designed to turn up the intensity and to give us a way to really push toward that intensity threshold in shorter bursts. We've got 4-minute rounds, so these are traditional Tabata rounds, which means we have 8 interval pairs of 20 seconds of work and 10 seconds of rest. Both of those intervals are very short, so the effort should feel pretty steady, pretty continuous for the entire set of work. We've got 5 4-minute rounds of Tabata. And in each one, we'll have a pair of exercises. So we'll alternate back and forth so that we can work multiple muscle groups, both upper and lower body in each set. We'll also have a little bit of core work thrown in there. Some of these movement patterns are going to be strictly strength. Others will incorporate conditioning. So it should be this nice kind of well-rounded practice where you're not feeling too wrung out. It's not conditioning the whole way, but you also have those little bursts to help tap your well of endorphins, to help stimulate your expansive energy during this phase in the cycle, this transition phase. So for today, all you will need is a single dumbbell. I have 2 that I'm using so that I can have a heavier one to create more challenge, and then a lighter one for kind of the smaller muscle groups in the arms and shoulders. And the intensity of this workout will be determined by the weight that you choose. So I encourage you to go as heavy as you can to create that intense stimulus in these shorter bursts, these shorter working intervals. So make sure that you are selecting your weight appropriately. You can also tune in to the movement tutorial ahead of this workout so that you get all the form and mechanics for each exercise. And that's a good way to kind of try it on, see what weight you want to use before you start the workout itself. Because once that timer starts, it's moving continuously from start to finish, and there's not a lot of rest in between. So tune into that movement tutorial, and you'll have your warm-up at the beginning, your cool down at the end, and that solid Tabata strength work in the middle. Let's get started. Let's get right into this total body warm-up for today. Stand with your feet about shoulder width apart. We're starting with a step out to an overhead squat and our lat pull down. We'll move in 3, 2, and 1. We step it out, take the arms overhead, then come up, lat pull down. Step it out into that overhead squat and draw the elbows behind your back. So here I want you to keep the chest upright as you come into that overhead squat. It's just a tiny step. We want to keep the feet parallel and pretty close together. Breathe in as you come out. Exhale for that lat pull down. Really activate the back here. Last 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring hands behind the head. Take your elbows nice and wide. Press your head into your hands. From here, give a gentle twist to one side. Take a big breath. And then as you exhale, release the hands. Press the palms away in opposite directions. Hips stay nice and square. Come back through center. Inhale. Exhale. Twist to the other side. Again, both hip points are facing forward. Release the hands. Press the palms in opposite directions. From here, we're coming into our single leg deadlift. So step 1 foot back, tap the opposite toes, and then straight into a squat to switch sides. So we're taking that tiny step back, really focusing on engaging the glute and hamstring in that front working leg. Again, the feet are nice and close together, about shoulder or hip width distance. Here we're awakening the back body, that posterior chain. Then we'll step to the top of the mat, reverse lunge with a lateral raise. So we're just bringing the arms out. You can even bring them overhead if that feels good. Just kind of awakening the shoulders here. Stepping back just enough to get those 90-degree bends in both knees. Warming all the major joints with this movement. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. Let's turn it around. Walk the hands out to plank and a push-up. You can take the knees down here, push up, chest to the floor, and walk it back. Take the arms all the way up. Let's get that again. Walk it out, come to your push-up, and walk it back. Reach the arms overhead. Let's get another one here. They're just short 30-second intervals. This will be our last one. Reach up and come back to the center of your mat. Hip hinge with a reverse fly. So we come down, squeeze the shoulder blades behind you, arms to T, and then up, reach the arms overhead. Come back down into that hip hinge, squeeze, and lift up. You're folding the body in half at those hip creases, keeping the spine moving together. It lifts as a unit, lowers as a unit. Really squeeze the shoulder blades onto the back. And then back to the front of the mat, we'll come into our spider lunge. So both hands to the inside of left foot. And then we're simply going to take that left arm back and forward. Maybe come a little deeper into that lunge at the top, like you're aiming your elbow toward your left heel. Just circle that arm, keep the hips nice and even, nice and square. A little bit of a stretch for the hips here. Last one. From here, step back to downward dog. Simple breath. From downward dog, we're going to inhale, come into cow pose. Let the knees soften down, extend the spine, and exhale back through downward dog. Inhale, knees touch down, lengthen the spine, gaze up, and exhale. Wave the spine back to downward dog. Feel the rhythm of your breath. Connect with that movement pattern. Last one. Step your right foot forward this time. We'll come into those arm circles now on the other side. So reaching back and forward. Elbow touches down if that feels good to you. Otherwise, we're just working that full range of motion in the right shoulder. Finding that deep stretch in the right hip. Reach it back. Last few reps here. And take the hands down, step it back to downward dog. Take a big breath, then hover into your bear plank, tap shoulders, and come back to downward dog. So we inhale, come forward, bear plank, exhale, tap the shoulders, and take it to downward dog. Finally, core activation here, shoulders and hips stay square. Feel that deep shoulder stretch and spine extension in downward dog. Last one, tap, tap. And from here, simply step the feet to the hands. Take a breath in your forward bend, maybe bring the elbows to the thighs. And then slowly roll up, bone by bone, all the way to stand. Let's reach the arms overhead, big breath in. And a slow breath out. That is your total body warm-up for today. And now you are ready to get into your workout. Get ready to turn up the intensity with this total body Tabata workout. It's just 24 minutes long. It is going to be challenging work from start to finish. All you will need for this workout is a single dumbbell. I have 2 different weight selections so that I can make quick adjustments in the moment. I encourage you to do the same if you have those weights available. This one moves quickly, so be sure to tune into that movement tutorial ahead of your workout time, because as soon as that timer begins, we'll be working from start to finish. So I will get our timer started for us. Our first movement pattern is a push press, so you can grab your weight and get it into position. I'm going to use my heavier weight for this one to start. So the push press, feet are shoulder width apart. The weight is on the meaty part of your shoulder, your opposite arm there for balance support. I want you to lift the hip points toward the low ribs. And as you take that weight overhead, make sure you're not overarching the lower back. Let's begin with our first round now and take it up. So we're just here for 20 seconds. So you're moving quickly, efficiently, and maxing out with every interval. We've got 8 rounds of Tabata, so 8 20-second intervals with just 10 seconds of rest. After this, we're going right into our reverse lunge with that single dumbbell rest. Bring that weight down. So the hand that has the weight, we're stepping back with that foot in 3, 2, and 1. Reverse lunge, step it back and up. Move quickly and smoothly. Keep the shoulders directly over the hips. The spine just moves up and down. And breathe. Should feel pretty manageable to start these shorter intervals. 3, 2, and 1. Switch sides. So we're coming to that opposite side now for the push press. Moving in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take it up. So you've got that little bit of help from the push in the legs. Tiny bend and extend. Again, you're moving continuous reps, getting as much work as you can in that 20-second interval. And rest 10 seconds. Reverse lunge on the other side. Let's get ready to move in 3, 2, 1. So we step back with the same side as the weight. You're aiming for 90-degree bends in both knees. Take it back and up. So we'll be in this pair of movements for the first 4 minutes. That's 1 round of Tabata. And we'll have 4 more pairs like that and rest. So we're switching sides. We're halfway through this pair of exercises. Let's come into position. 3, 2, 1. So you're back to the first side push press. Bend the knees and press it up. This is a power movement. It's that push key action. Here we go. Stay with it. 3, 2, and 1. Let's step it back in just about 10 seconds. We'll move in 4, 3, 2, and 1. So nice and quick. Here we go. Make your movement efficient. Your legs know the starting and ending position. So trust that body intuition and just breathe. Last 3, 2, and 1. These intervals are short and we want to make them powerful. Let's move in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Push press on the first side. After our first set of Tabata, we'll have a full minute to rest. So we're turning up the intensity, picking up the pace, because we know we only have to be there for 4 minutes before our full minute of recovery. And rest. We've got just 1 more interval here before we switch to the next exercise. 2, and 1. Reverse lunge. Make these quick. Keep that spine straight and strong. So the weight should feel sustainable at this quicker pace. Something you can manage for those short bursts of high intensity and rest. So we've got our 10-second recovery interval, and then we're switching. As you recover for this full minute, I will demonstrate our next set of exercises. So the first one is an uneven bent row. Coming into that bent position, palms are facing the midline. We're simply taking one arm back and fully extending. Back and extend. And then we're going to take that same side leg slightly behind you. And we're coming into a single leg deadlift. So it's that hip hinge, only come down to mid-height and then drive it up. That's your single leg deadlift. If you want a little more challenge, you can lift that back leg into the full single leg deadlift. So I'm getting a little bit of balance challenge there. Know that you will not get as many reps with that balance challenge because I want you to move a little bit slower. So we'll do one arm, one leg, and then we'll switch. Same kind of setup as the first round. Let's get ready to move. We've got just about 5 more seconds to go in our recovery interval. Hopefully you've caught your breath, and let's begin. So one-sided, uneven, bent row. It should feel pretty heavy, pretty challenging for this movement pattern. You can have your opposite arm out to the side or on your hip. Make sure you're keeping the chest open. 2, and 1. Quick 10-second transition. Take that same leg, step it back, or you're lifting it all the way. I'll probably switch between 2 and 1. Single leg deadlift and extend. Find some power. Make sure you're keeping the shoulders and the hips level and square the whole way down, the whole way up. They will want to twist open. Can you really engage that standing glute to create that level plane in the spine? 2 and 1. Switch the grip. Put your weight in your other hand. And we'll come into our bent row, uneven row. Here we go. 2 and 1. Pull it back. So these are quick. I want you to get the most out of the full 20 seconds because you know it's not a long interval. You can really push and flirt with your edge in each of those 20-second intervals. That's the goal of this type of interval training. And 1, take that same foot back, coming into single leg deadlift next. Let's begin in 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Take it down and drive it up. So feel some power here. Make sure that back leg is strong and that you're not overarching the lower back. So you're using the glute of your lifted leg to create that extension. 3, 2, and 1. Coming up to the next round. So we're switching that weight back to the first side, coming into our bent row, and let's begin. Pull it back. Get as many reps as you can with quality and proper mechanics. So you're extending fully at the bottom and then creating that pull. Shoulders and hips are staying even again the whole time. They're going to want to twist. I want you to keep them stable and come up. So that same side leg steps back. Single leg deadlift is next. 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Down and up. So you can slow that descent if you're lifting your back leg. Spend more time in the eccentric loading phase, especially during the ovulatory phase when we have support from anabolic hormones. You can increase that anabolic response by hanging out, spending more time in that lowering phase, in that loading phase. Let's switch sides back to the first side. Here we go and begin. Pull it back. You got this. Pull it back and fully extend. Generating some heat. Let's finish this side strong. Last 3, 2, and 1. Take that same leg back. Come into your split stance for single leg deadlift. We'll move in 3, 2, 1. This is the last exercise in this second round of Tabata. So really make it count. Get as many reps as you can. We've got a full minute recovery coming up next. Last 3, 2, and 1. We've got that 10-second recovery period and then a full minute to bring the heart rate back down to recover completely. Our next exercises, we're coming into a goblet squat. So the first one, we take the weight in that goblet position. Feet are nice and close together, shoulder width apart. We come down, knees, elbows to knees, and drive up through the heels. We're pairing that with an uneven sprawl to an upright row. So you'll start with the weight in one hand. We'll come down, hop it back and in, and then pull that weight into your upright row. Come down, pull it up. You can also be walking the feet back and forward to plank for more low impact, forward and back, and then into your upright row. Just make sure as you're hopping back that you're not letting the hips drop down, that you're keeping that nice strong plank form all the way through. We've got just over 10 seconds. This one, we're going to pick up the conditioning effort just a little bit with that jump back. So we'll come into position for that goblet squat. Remember, the feet are shoulder width apart. We've got the weight right in the center. Let's begin. Take it down and up. I want you to pick up the pace here. Get some power in those legs. Breathing in and out. You can count your reps in the first round so that you can try to meet or beat those reps in the remaining rounds. And rest. We're coming back to that jump back, so that sprawl to an upright row in 5 seconds here. So we're on the same side, that single arm the whole time, and begin. Up it back, forward, upright row. I want you to have quick feet, so you're keeping the hips at that same elevation, same plane, nice and level the whole way through. And that requires that the feet move quickly. Last 3, 2, and 1. Get set up, back to goblet squats. So here we have this double-sided exercise mixed with the single-sided. 2 and 1. Pick up the pace. Down and up. How quickly can you move those legs? So this Tabata round is about the conditioning. We have that weight. We're moving that load, but we're doing it very quickly. I want you to approach breathless. 2 and 1. Switch the weight to the second side now. Coming into the sprawl to upright row. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come down, hop it back, upright row. Be mindful of your lower spine as you come up. I want you to keep that weight nice and close to the body, so you don't have any strain in the lower back. Last 3, 2, and 1. Back to goblet squats. Load that weight right in the center. 3, 2, and 1. Moving nice and quick. Make this pattern as efficient as possible. Heart and chest are elevated. Sitting back into that chair. Knees track over the second and third toes. You're moving as quickly and efficiently as possible. Rest. Back to the first side. Coming to that sprawl to upright row. 3, 2, 1. Let's get it. Up, back, forward. Nice and quick. Pull it up. This weight should feel heavy, especially in that upright row pattern. Make those movements in your feet nice and quick. Not letting the hips drop. Let's get one more rep. And rest. Goblet squat coming up. We've got 3, 2, 1. Nice and quick. 20 seconds. Brace the belly so you're drawing the navel to spine. Keeping that integration all the way around. We've got it. Just 5 more seconds. Stay quick. And rest. Second side now. Coming into your sprawl to upright row. 3, 2, 1. Again, you're approaching that breathless zone. We're only in each round for 4 minutes. So it's just enough to turn up the intensity, to maintain that max effort output before we recover. Rest. Set that weight down. You have your 10-second recovery interval. And then we're coming into our 4th Tabata round. We only have 2 of these left. So our next set of exercises, we're toning it down just a little bit in favor of core and strength work. So our first movement pattern is the bear plank pull. You'll come into bear plank position, shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. We hover the knees. You're simply going to pull from one side to the other. Key here is to keep shoulders and hips level. Don't let your torso twist. And then we're just going to pop up for our tricep extension from a kneeling position. Take it down and up. So this one, again, will be a little bit slower. It's just that solid strength work. And you will pick up the intensity with the load because we're targeting kind of smaller muscle groups and that core activation. So we're getting ready, moving in just under 10 seconds here. Come into your bear plank pull in 3, 2, and 1. Hover those knees, pull. So I want you to really reach as far as you can under. and resist the rotation. So obliques working to stabilize the torso in the presence of that asymmetrical load. Make sure your knees aren't coming too close to your hands, and rest. Get ready to come up into that kneeling position for your tricep extension next. 3, 2, and 1. Hug the elbows into your sides. Lift the front ribs down. Hip points are lifting towards those front ribs so that you have that stable pelvis. We're not arching the lower back to make up for mobility gaps in the shoulders, but we're relying on the range of motion in that joint. 2 and 1. Set the weight back down. If the bear plank pull is too much, you can always just take it from a tabletop position. Let's go in 3, 2, and 1. Pull it under and across. You got this. Again, stabilize the shoulders, stabilize the hips. You want them to be sort of still and steady, only that arm moving. And there's a lot of work happening in the core. Last 3, 2, and 1. Come into that kneeling position. Again, bracing the low belly, lifting hip points toward the low ribs. Wrap the elbows to the center and begin. Bend the elbows, squeeze the triceps. Down and up. You got this. Down and up. These are short intervals, but it should feel heavy. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that weight back down. Come into your bear plank. We got this. 3, 2, and 1. We pull under. Wrap that arm beneath you. Brace the belly. Draw those hip points up toward the low ribs. It's almost like you're curling the tail under just slightly. So it's not a tailbone tuck, but it's that integrated position for the pelvis. And come down. Tricep extension is next. Come into that kneeling position. 3, 2, and 1. Bring it down. Squeeze up. So again, side body's long. Shoulders are relaxed away from the ears. Staying stable and strong from start to finish. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. We've got our 10-second recovery period here. Shake out those shoulders. 3, 2, and 1. We're coming into that bear plank pull. Once again, this is our last round. Make it count. See if you can move a little more quickly, a little more efficiently. Maybe that weight's getting a little bit lighter, or maybe it feels heavier. Just stay strong till the end and rest. Last round of tricep extensions coming up, and then we're on the home stretch of this workout. Come into position. 3, 2, and 1. Keep the energy of the legs hugging to the midline here. Elbows doing the same. They squeeze to the center so that you're keeping that alignment in the shoulders and the upper body. We don't want the elbows to wing out when the triceps get tired. 2, and 1. 10-second recovery period. And then we're coming into a half kneeling series. So I'll walk you through the next set of exercises during this 1-minute recovery interval. This is one where I'm switching to my lighter weight. So you're going to have the half kneeling position. We come in, or it's a simple curl to an Arnold press. So you take it around and up. I'll demonstrate from the front so you can see that. We're curling it up, squeeze the biceps, and take it around. So it's that rotation in the shoulder. And then we're pairing this with our chop and lift. So you're coming down to that back hip, and you're simply going to rotate and twist. I want the hips to stay square and even. The rotation happens in the upper back, in the torso. So you're using the obliques to get that weight overhead. We're moving in just about 10 seconds. We'll do both of those exercises on one side, and then we'll switch to the other. So come into your starting position. 3, 2, and 1. It's a curl and press. Come back down all the way. Curl it up, Arnold press. So we're finishing with this solid strength work. You're loading asymmetrically, so you should feel the core activation pretty clearly, pretty directly. And rest. So now take the leg that is in front, that hand comes on top, wood chop and lift. In 2, 1, we swing it around and come back down nice and slow. I want you to control that rotation. Really want you to push into your back shin, your front foot to stabilize the legs and give you that jumping off point, that stable base that you can then rotate from. And rest. Switch sides. So other foot comes forward. Curl to Arnold press. In 3, 2, and 1. Curl it up. Press it overhead. Come back down. So we're stabilizing the lower body here as we work. So squeezing, creating some energy to the center. Last 3, 2, and 1. Come down, take that front hand on top for the chop and lift. So we start at that back hip, 3, 2, and 1. Press down through the feet, back shin, and rotate. So I want you to feel that power from the torso. Comes from deep in that back hip flexor, up through the obliques to make that rotation happen. You got this. Last 3, 2, and 1. Switch sides. Back to the first side. We're moving. Curl to Arnold press in 3, 2, and 1. Curl it up. Press it overhead. Smooth, efficient path here through each rep. Squeeze the bicep. Press it overhead. Doesn't take much weight to feel this in the shoulders and biceps. 2, 1. Take that weight to your back hip. Chop and lift is next. We'll move in 3, 2, and 1. Rotate and come back down. So I want you to control that descending phase of the movement. There is as much work to be done there as in the concentric phase or that working phase. Back down. Last one. And switch sides. This is our last minute of work. Last 2 exercises. 3, 2, and 1. Curl it up. Arnold press. We got this. Take it down. Squeeze overhead and back the way you came in. Notice the difference from your dominant side to your non-dominant side. You can definitely feel a little bit more challenge there on the non-dominant side. Rest. Come back into position. Final exercise. Let's make it count. Press down through your back shin and your front foot. Let's begin now. Take it up and across. Slowly lower down. Rotate. You got this. Take it down and up and over. Breathe here. Last 3, 2, and 1. Rest. Slowly set your weight off to the side. Excellent, excellent job. We'll roll out the shoulders here. If your heart rate is still pretty high, I want you to stay in that low intensity dynamic movement for a few more moments. But that last round wasn't super intense on the conditioning demand, so you should be kind of more or less at your baseline, which means you are ready to move into your cool down, and we'll head there next. You have just completed your total body session for today, and now it is time to cool down. Let the feet step out nice and wide, all 10 toes facing forward. We'll enjoy a big breath in. And as you exhale, interlace your fingers behind you. Start to send the knuckles toward the earth. Lift the chest high. Keep drawing the hip bones up toward the low ribs. Big breath in here. And as you exhale, fold any amount over the legs. You can send the knuckles skyward. Maybe keep the head level with the heart and hips. As we're just coming out of the workout into our cool down, we want to avoid dropping the head too far below the heart. Big breath here. You can release the hands. And then we'll turn over that right leg. Simple lizard stretch here. Let the back knee come down. I want you to create lots of separation between the thigh bones. And you can take your right hand to your right thigh, press it down and forward, twist the heart open. If you like, you can come onto the knife edge, pinky toe side of that front foot. Press the inner knee away as you stretch the heart back. Breathing all the while here. Just a few more seconds. Enjoy this deep lizard stretch, and then we'll come to the center of the mat. All 10 toes facing that long edge. I want you simply to alternate side to side. So you can crawl the fingers from one foot to the other, maybe lifting the toes, coming into that deep side lunge, maybe even a Cossack squat. We're here just a few more seconds, and then we'll take it to the other side for our lizard lunge. Start to transition that way now. Bring the hands to the inside of left foot. Nice separation between the thigh bones. And you can take your right hand down, left hand to the top of the thigh. First, press down and forward to feel that twist in the upper back. It's almost like a T-spine release for the upper mid back. And then you can turn onto the knife edge if that feels good. Press that inner knee away. You keep anchoring down through the knife edge of that left foot to protect the knee there. We're here just a few more seconds. And then we'll take both hands down, knees join at the back of the mat. Keep the hips over the knees, walk the hands out to puppy pose. So you can rest your forehead on the mat, or maybe even bring chin and chest to the floor. Really feel that stretch in the upper chest, upper back. Shine the sitting bones up and back. Lengthening the spine, side waist. One of my favorite stretches here. Then we'll slowly come up to modified pigeon. So we take both knees to the left. I want you to turn over your left shin and fold over the legs. So this can be a little or a lot. You can straighten that back leg a little more to get the sensation you need in that left hip. So it's a great entry point for pigeon pose, especially if you haven't been warming to this deep hip opener, but you're just looking for that nice, even stretch. And then slowly coming up, another new favorite of mine, this deep hip flexor stretch. So left forearm comes down, right arm comes up and back. You can cradle the head in the hand. I want you to anchor the inner right knee and lift the spine up and back. So I'm finding this stretch works its way into my cool downs more often than not these days, because it's really a great entry point to the hip flexor without relying on full flexion of the knee. So it's a great way to get into that deeper hip flexor stretch. Let's switch sides here. Come into your modified pigeon on the other side. So we're flexing the right foot, coming over the right shin. You can lower down as little or as much as feels comfortable for you. Again, kind of rotating, maybe moving around until you feel the sensation that you need. We're here for just a few more seconds. And then we'll slowly lift the torso up, bring your right forearm behind you, sweep the left arm back, cradle the head in the left hand. So I want you to lift up and back through the chest, anchor the inner left knee this time. And you're trying to arc away from that inner left knee, so creating as much length as you can along the front line of the body. Big breath here. Just a few more rounds of breath, and then we're coming into upward table. So you can slowly start to work your way in that direction. Let your feet be parallel, knees facing forward. I like to bring the hands to where the fingers are facing out, the heels of the hands hugging behind you. Simply lift up into that upward table stretch. We're not puffing the low belly, low ribs. The lower spine stays neutral. And I like to avoid dropping the head back at this point in the workout. Just keep your chin nice and neutral. This is really focusing on that chest opening. So press down through the heels of the hands. And then we'll slowly come back to our seat. And we'll move into our neck release. So you come into a seated position. We'll wrap the right arm behind. So you find your left hip crease, or you can reach for your left bicep. And then we're going to take left ear to the left shoulder. Feel that nice deep stretch in the neck so that we make sure we're not carrying any tension away from this workout with us. We'll switch sides. So wrapping for the other bicep here, you can clasp or just reach for the hip crease. We just want to create that kind of internal rotation of the shoulder so that we can get that deep sensation in the neck. You can move the head through yes and no, forward and back. And then we'll slowly release. Let's take the legs nice and wide for our straddle stretch. You want to tilt the pelvis slightly forward so you're on the very tip of the sitting bones. Flex the feet, press the backs of the knees down. Walk the hands forward any amount. So wherever it feels best for you, where you're feeling that deep sensation, but it's not creating any strain. I want you to soften the shoulders and the face. Really press down through the backs of the knees to engage the quadriceps. That'll send the signal of relaxation to the hamstrings, inner thighs. Let's enjoy a few more breaths here. And then slowly walk it up. We will bring the feet in front of you to transition in your own way to standing. So I like to take my time in each new body position, maybe resting hands on the thighs, getting a nice spinal stretch here, and then rolling up bone by bone all the way to standing. Let's enjoy a huge breath in. And that sigh out. That completes your workout for today. I want to thank you so much for being here, for working out in this very cyclical way that mirrors the innate wisdom of your body. So you're really honoring that cyclical nature that you have embedded in your system. So thank you for being here and for letting your body be moved.